So I just moved to Linux. I got the opportunity to try out a new GPU as well. However, as I already have an RTX 4070 Ti, I thought it would be best to do some tests to see which one runs better. This is going to be a Linux-only test, as I'm not using Windows very often. As for my specs, they should be on screen now. In any case, I chose 3 games that will show different styles, complexities, as well as engines. Overwatch, Palworld, and Haste. Now, let's get into the graphs and my thoughts on their performance. Overwatch was actually pretty decent, all things considered, though with the RTX 4070 Ti, it felt clunky. I feel as if that is the best way to explain it. On average, the RTX card was getting about 139 FPS over the course of the playtest, with a 1% low of 59 FPS. This was done on high settings with DLSS on. All things considered though, it was solid but felt floaty, almost as if playing on a TV rather than a monitor. I could tell my input lag was up, even with the boost settings on. On the other side of things, we have the RX 7900 XT, with an average of 148 FPS and a 1% low of 90 FPS. This was the same settings and FSR 2.2 enabled. After playing with this card, I can, for a fact, tell you that the RTX experience was adding at least 5 milliseconds of input delay. It felt so much better to be on the RX 7900 XT than the RTX 4070 Ti. Palworld is very unoptimized, and at this point I think it is just the Unreal Engine issue. Though, when looking at the RTX card footage, you can see something strange happening with the tail as it leaves a trail. Just look at this clip. What the hell's happening? This never occurs on the RX 7900 XT, but I guess I can't be certain until further tests are done on Unreal Engine games. Anyway, for the RTX 4070 Ti, we had an average of 62 FPS and a 1% low of 44 FPS. While the input latency was not an issue for this game, there was a lot to be desired from the performance side of things, as you can see on the graph. From what I could tell, there were only a few massive dips in performance on both cards, and that was whenever I was loading new assets. Though that is probably just the hard disk not keeping up correctly. For the RX 7900 XT, we have an average of 92 FPS and a 1% low of 48 FPS. This felt the same as the RTX card, minus the fact that there was more FPS on average, which made the game feel more smooth. I had no visual bugs in my time playing on this card, which, from my experience with Radeon, it was kind of surprising. Overall, I have to say that the RX card outperformed the RTX card here, and I cannot give an exception. Haste was by far the most optimized game here, clocking in at an average of 349 FPS with a 1% low of 168 FPS on the RTX card. It felt smooth as butter on both cards, given how well the game is made. This is the game that gave both cards a win. The RX 7900 XT had an average of 353 FPS and a 1% low of 158 FPS, meaning it took the lead on average, but its lows have a larger margin, making it feel more clunky when it suddenly drops for any reason. However, the low is high enough that it doesn't make it impossible to play either way. There really isn't much to say about this game other than, wow, that's optimized. Overall, I do think the RX 7900 XT beat out the RTX 4070 Ti. For 2025 and being around the same price point now, I do recommend the RX 7900 XT over the RTX 4070 Ti for the average user. Before you look the other way though, I can't say I recommend the RX card for creators all that much, if time is of the essence. I went ahead and edited this entire video on the RX 7900 XT, and can say that the RTX 4070 Ti is far superior in terms of rendering. As I am writing this script, it has taken me well over 3 hours to render out the example screens, and I fear for how long it'll take to render the whole video in one go. So if you do a lot of production and video editing, go with an NVIDIA card for the NVINC on OBS, as well as the faster rendering times on videos, 3D modeling, and even photo editing software. If you are just trying to play games, go with the more affordable option of AMD Radeon 7000 series and higher. Go for the higher VRAM models if you do this though. This will help you with future-proofing in the long run. With that, we come to the end of the video. Please leave a like and subscribe. I want to make more videos, so please leave a comment as well as any and all criticisms. Also, if you did make it to the end, I would like to say check my other videos out, but I don't control you. Hope I see you in the next one.